Good afternoon, our viewers. I would like to welcome you very much to the webinar this afternoon, which is organized by Cavendish University Uganda. My name is Olive Sabiiti, and I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Law, but I'm also the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs here at Cavendish University Uganda. I'd like to encourage you, I can see that some of our viewers are already on. I'd like to encourage you to let others know so they can join this webinar where I'm going to share some information about the law at Cavendish University Uganda, the law program. At the moment, at the Faculty of Law, we have two programs, the Bachelor of Laws program and the Master of Laws program. The Bachelor of Laws program is the undergraduate degree that anyone would have to undertake if they eventually intend to practice law in Uganda. But certainly, after pursuing the undergraduate degree, you then move on to the Law Development Center where you do a postgraduate law degree in order to practice law. I'd like to quickly add that the profession, the legal profession, is a very versatile profession. So it is not necessarily the case that whenever you study law at undergraduate level, you end up in legal practice. You could do a host of other things. You could go into business, into banking, you could go into the NGO world, you could go into academia, you could really do a host of things. The program at Cavendish University Uganda is really unique, and I'd like to encourage people to join this program for the specific reason that methods that we use are diverse, and they have the individual learner at heart. So we do not look at learners as mere statistics. We look at the learners as individuals and recognize their individual needs. So some learners are visual, others. So we synthesize all these together with blended learning, where technology is merged with the traditional podium course, or what is traditionally known as the lecture method, and we deliver the law program. Now, in the 21st century, you all agree with me, knowledge is widely available. So if someone wants to know something about the law of torts, for example, it's very easy to check on the internet and you get a lot of information. So at Cavendish, we don't put emphasis merely on the substantive law, but we also put a lot of emphasis on skills that students need to develop, hone, and perfect in order to become excellent lawyers. I can see Albert Rosie Elias from Juba. Thank you for joining the webinar. Please do invite others to join the webinar. So, of course, that's a little bit about the Bachelor of Laws program. But we are also launching the Master of Laws program, and it's already started this semester. And it is a unique program. We are the only university, as far as I'm aware, in Uganda to offer a Master of Laws with courses on forensics, criminology, and the law. These are required in the market for people who are in investigations, criminal investigations, to ensure that in the acquisition or the gathering of evidence, there is accuracy, and you can always take the culprits to book. The Master of Laws program also has a number of programs, really, or let me call them specializations. So we have the General Master of Laws, where a student will take any one of a given number of courses they need not be related. They'll all be about the law, but unrelated. However, we also have specializations in natural resource law, international commercial law, and also in human rights, governance, and development. Why is the Master of Laws program unique? Firstly, it is really the environment, the international element of the program. International in the course, or international reflected in the course content that we deliver, but also international because of the diverse students we admit. We offer this program on distance learning as well, which means you can always attend your classes and complete the program wherever you are. So you can mix and merge your working life as well as studying for the master degree program. And you'd also be able to network with a host of students from diverse backgrounds, not only geographical backgrounds, but also legal or academic backgrounds, because not everyone who studies a Master of Laws is necessarily a lawyer. They could be from other backgrounds which have some linkages with the law. But it's also international in the sense that the faculty, the facilitators on the program, they are also international in perspective. They have studied and trained in various jurisdictions around the world. So they bring in this world of global experience and they bring this to the Master of Laws program, giving it a truly international perspective. But in the content as well, we don't concentrate on the jurisdiction in Uganda, but we also use a comparative approach whereby we're looking at Uganda, but also looking at other jurisdictions. And of course, given that globalization is here with us, all our programs also have an international element to them. So we're not focusing on Ugandan jurisdiction, but we're also looking at other jurisdictions across the globe and even at different legal origins. And by legal origins, I refer to whether it's a common law jurisdiction or whether it's a civil law jurisdiction, or a merge, a mix of both. I thank you, Honorable Abshir Omar, for recognizing Cavendish and for your good wishes for our prosperity. I also recognize Maria Banks Ane, who is greeting us from South Sudan. We actually have a number of alumni in South Sudan or from South Sudan. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about our programs. Maybe something I should also talk about, which is really interesting and which is an innovation in the market, and that is the School of Working Adults program. Now, with the School of Working Adults, this is truly blended learning. And what are we blending in this respect? We are blending technology with the conventional podium class or the conventional lecture class. Now, in the conventional lecture class, the lecturer would be at the center of it all. The students would come into class as empty vessels, waiting to be filled by the lecturer. Now, this approach is not wholly effective, and research and studies have been done that show this. People are not necessarily going to capture all the information that they need to, given that approach. It has been said that the one who does the work is the one who does the learning. So in the School of Working Adults program, what we try to do is to ensure that the student is involved in their own learning, that the student participates in doing the work. That is, if it is a problem case, that the student is involved in conducting the research, the student is involved in finding the answers, of course, under the guidance of the lecturer. And in that case, learning happens. I can see Maria Banks asking that when is graduation day? Thank you. Our graduation day is going to be on the 29th of March. So the date could vary, but so just in the early part of the year, we are going to be having our graduation. So make sure that in the meantime, you fulfill all the requirements for graduation. And one thing I'd like to say about graduation, for those who may be interested, is that at Cavendish, you get your certificate on graduation day. And that is wholly because our mission is to deliver a transformative quality education that transforms students into responsible, educated, employable, and entrepreneurial citizens. Getting the transcript and the certificate on graduation day aimed at helping or facilitating the employability of our graduates. Now, I'm still talking about the School of Working Adults. The seating arrangement in this program is also different. The students do not sit in the traditional, conference or lecture theatre kind of arrangement. Our students sit in the boardroom style of sitting. And this is to help them inculcate the habit or to inculcate boardroom behavior while they're still at university. Again, this is to promote employability. So they will not be shocked or surprised when they end up in the boardroom, either as employers or as employees. We anticipate that our graduates are good enough to end up in the boardroom, so we inculcate that behavior early on. The students are also working adults, meaning that during the week, they're engaged in employment or entrepreneurship elsewhere outside the university. So when they come to the lecture room, they come in with a wealth of experience. So there's also a lot of sharing of ideas amongst peers, amongst one another. These are not empty vessels. They come with a wealth of knowledge, and we want to leverage that. They share ideas. The lecturers learn from them, and they learn from the lecturers. The facilitators on the School of Working Adults program are also industry practitioners. Definitely, they meet the credentials for anyone in academics or a faculty, but on top of that, they are industry practitioners. As an example, the person who would be facilitating on the criminal law class should be someone who is engaged either with the Ministry of Justice, in the Director of Public Prosecutions chambers, in the Inspectorate of Government's chambers, So they would have that industry practice. Maybe they're private practitioners, but with a criminal practice, there must be people who come or who bring a competitive edge to our students. So this program is flexible, really. We also support it with a learning platform, but also with a tablet. So every learner is issued with a tablet. And the tablet would have materials to facilitate studying during the week while they're away from university. In the lecture rooms, we do not dictate notes because that is really not only old-fashioned, but it does not simply work. It wastes time and resources. So in the lecture room, we then employ the flipped classroom. What is traditionally done at home, that is the solving of problems, is now done in the lecture room with the facility of the facilitator or the lecturer. What is traditionally done in the classroom, the dictation of notes, the speaking at the students in through delivery of a lecture, is now done at home. So the students take advantage of the lecturer at the time that they need them most. We boast of a moot court at the Faculty of Law, and that is something, again, which is distinct, and distinct because, you see, experience is the best teacher. They say practice makes permanent, not only perfect, but permanent. So students at Cavendish are already well versed with the etiquette, the behavior that is required in a moot court, because it's right there on campus. They have compulsory moots every Wednesday afternoon. These moods are compulsory for each and every student in the faculty, whether you're a complete freshman or fresher in your very first semester, you will participate in this mood. And the purpose really is to ensure that students learn or students acquire other skills that may not be acquired on a traditional law program. So for example, they will acquire critical thinking skills. They'll be able to critically analyze information and documents. They'll be able to think quickly on their feet. They'll be able to problem solve. They'll be able to take decisions. They'll be able to work in teams and collaborate, because usually in these modes, they participate as members of a team. They'll be able to be effective in communication, whether that communication is oral or verbal. So they learn a host of other attributes and skills that will help them to become successful practitioners at whatever they choose to do. But central to this all is that students are also equipped with the skill of lifelong learning. The students at Cavendish are self-reliant because it's one of our values. But then they take self-reliance, they push it a bit further to cover lifelong learning. Learning does not stop today. Learning continues throughout an individual's life. So this skill is central, and it is one of the skills that students have to acquire. That learning does not stop at what you see on the tablet in terms of brief notes or resources or course books or what you hear from the lecturer or from the cases, but learning continues on a lifelong basis. And we encourage our students to enroll for the Learning How to Learn course, which is provided on Coursera. It is a massive open online course, so that students can learn how to learn. Otherwise, they may participate in learning and it may not be effective. For example, our students know that merely highlighting a casebook does not mean that you're learning. It is only an illusion of learning. So we teach them many other skills that are going to help them in their working life. We also help students to acquire values, because the law is a noble profession. The legal profession is a service profession. It is not about making money. Sometimes people think, lawyers are a greedy lot, they're about exploiting others, but that is not the case. The legal profession is a noble profession. So you can acquire legal knowledge, the substantive legal knowledge, like I mentioned, off the internet through reading of books, but you need to acquire integrity. You need to build that value. And at Cavendish, we build that value. It is one of the values at the university. Someone is asking, Nathan Mwebesa, are there scholarships? Yes, we do have scholarships at Cavendish. They are called the Academic Merit Scholarships. We are already closed for this semester for scholarships, but we have 3 intakes in a year, and at each intake there are scholarships. So there are scholarships available during the May intake and in the August intake. I'd encourage anyone interested in scholarships to check our website. Under Student Life, you'll see scholarships and discounts, and there will be information about these scholarships. All you need is 12 points at A level and passing of an aptitude test, after which, if you qualify, you'll then get full tuition for the full duration of your program. Thank you, Maurice Tarema, for your comment that the School of Working Adults program is a commendable innovation. Thank you. And Maurice is actually one of our students on the School of Working Adults, so he really knows what he is talking about. I can see a question from Mariama Tabs. Good afternoon, Doctor. As the Dean of Law, what is the overview of students' performance in the newly released results compared to previous semesters? Thank you very much, Mariama. At Cavendish, students' performance, we always see this, it improves with every semester that they are with us. And credit for this is our methods of teaching, which have their genesis in our academic model. Allow me to emphasize that we are the only university in Uganda with a well-stipulated and clearly elaborated academic model, which puts the student at the center of all that we do. Now, part of our academic model is student-centric. We ensure that the assessment also puts the student at the core. Is teaching and learning effective? Is learning happening? So we do not only assess students summatively at the end of the semester, we also assess our students for formative purposes. So in week 6 of a semester, they do a continuous assessment test, after which they get feedback. We have published office hours where students can interact with their lecturers on a one-on-one basis for feedback. They then work on that feedback, and then they attempt a second continuous assessment test in week 11. By week 11, they're much better than in week 6. Again, the process is repeated. It's an iterative process. Feedback again is given. The students again work at their individual weaknesses or areas where they need to achieve much better, and then we wait for the summative. Now, in between these 2 continuous assessment tests, there are also continuous assessments as we go. Like I mentioned, our lectures are not traditional podium style where I speak and lecture. The students will be asking questions. It is interactive, and throughout that whole process, students are learning. So it therefore comes as no surprise that each semester students perform better. And so, Mariama, in response to your questions, even this semester is a bit no different. Students have performed better than they did last semester. I'd like to add that this impression of performance is not only our own, it's not concocted. The mission of Cavendish University Uganda is to provide an accessible, research-driven quality education. I emphasize research-driven because all our activities are based on research. All our findings are based on research. So our programs, our assessments are also subject to external examination. The external examiners are able to give us reports. Of course, they come from other institutions, not from Cavendish, and we are able to gauge the ranking or the standing of our program. So it is really quality assurance is key. We also do student and staff evaluations every semester, and that is just to emphasize one of the pillars of our academic model, which is responsiveness to needs. And of course, that is one of the ways in which we continually improve the quality of our offering. Thank you. I see Prime Miga. Yes, Prime Miga, if you'd like to ask a question, please feel free, ask your question. You have not mentioned what the question is. Please go ahead and ask your question. I'll be able to answer it. Sylvia Flower is asking, when is the next intake? We are currently admitting students. So if you're interested in joining the Faculty of Law, but not only the Faculty of Law, we have 18 programs on offer this semester. So you are welcome. Registration closes after week 4. So please do come in and take that decision and register with Cavendish. So But apart from this January intake, in case you're not able to make it for this intake, we have another intake in May, but admissions are still open for this semester. Now, Mika is asking, law schools have of recent been subjected to LDC as a benchmark of good performance. That is very true, Mika, that law schools have been subjected to LDC as a benchmark of good performance. And this is simply because for our viewers who may not have this background, after the undergraduate law degree in Uganda, you need to go for a postgraduate diploma in legal practice, and that is at Law Development Center. Before going to Law Development Center, you need to do a sit a pre-entry test. Now, people will be looking, how have students from various universities performed in the pre-entry test? But that is not the only litmus test. People will also be interested in watching and seeing how did those students then go on to perform at the Law Development Center. Now, for us at Cavendish University Uganda, we got accreditation from the Law Council in 2016 in October, and we do not have students yet who have gone to LDC, Law Development Center. But I'd like to quickly add that the pre-entry to Law Development Center is not necessarily a benchmark of good performance. And why do I say this? Because recently you've been seeing in the papers, there was a high rate of failure at Law Development Center, and yet all these people who consequently failed had passed the pre-entry exam. The pre-entry exam is excellent at revealing that there is a problem. So what do we do at Cavendish? That is why we employ all the mechanisms I've explained, like the formative assessments, like the compulsory moot court, like the holistic legal education. And I am confident that when our students sit the pre-entry, there will be students with a difference, because we see it as we progress. Our students are also, they participate in employability skills training with the leading public relations consultants in Uganda, NFT Consult, and they've been found to be highly competitive, as compared to students from other institutions. Because what we give is not only book knowledge, because book knowledge is not sufficient for employability, but we equip students with the all-round performance, with all-round skills, knowledge, skills, and values that they'll need to become successful at employment and at entrepreneurship. Someone is asking a question, do you have postgraduate diploma in human rights? No, we do not have a postgraduate diploma in human rights. Although in our Bachelor of Laws program, we have human rights courses, and with our Master of Laws program, we also have a human rights governance and development offering or specialization. And there will be subjects like human rights in the domestic perspective, international and regional human rights, and so you can, of course, and then many other aspects of human rights, so you can acquire that in that respect. Mika is asking, what is CU doing to help its students to get into LDC? There is no problem with the students of Cavendish joining LDC. Actually, we have a student who passed the pre-entry from the earlier intake following the order of court. He passed, but at the time, I think he's deferred his entry because he's doing a Master of Laws degree in China, but he will be joining. So there's nothing that we need to do apart from training our students appropriately and ensuring that they are competitive at the pre-entry test. I am confident, without a doubt, that they are competitive because we have been participating in moot court competitions, both locally and internationally. Just last semester, in December, we participated in the Great Lakes Region International Humanitarian Law moot, and our students were the third in East Africa out of 30 institutions. Many universities participated in Uganda, but we are number 3, coming ahead of the other universities in Uganda. We participated in a moot court in Strathmore that was on information communication technology and intellectual property, and our students were competitive. So we have participated in the International Humanitarian Law Moot organized by the International Committee of the Red Cross, and again our students have been competitive. The people who teach our students are practitioners on top of being academics. So we have no doubt that our students will compete favorably at the Law Development Center. What opportunities are given to those who recommend new students to join the institution? Anyone who recommends, actually, because we are confident about the product that we offer, our product definitely is quality education. Our students are our best ambassadors, and because we are sure, because it is them who can tell their friends, their relatives that, you know, you're missing out on something here. You're missing out on quality legal education at Cavendish. And so we give them their incentives, and you can always, again, talk to our enrollment team. Incentives to those who recommend new students. And these incentives are given to our students because our students are our best judge, because they know what happens here at Cavendish. One thing I'd like to emphasize is that at Cavendish, by design, we have small class sizes by design. This enables us to look at our students not as statistics, but as individuals. So your lecturer will know all your names in the lecture room. They'll know your individual challenges. They'll know your individual strength, and they'll be able to work with you. And that is really key. You do not find it in many institutions in Uganda. So we don't have instances where students will say, oh, my results for last semester went missing. That does not happen at Cavendish, because the student is at the center, and we are concerned about that one student, and that is really critical. That really makes Cavendish unique. Do you have a master's in public international law? Yes, we do have a master's in public international law. It's not really, I will quickly clarify, it's not necessarily called a master's in public international law. It would be the Masters of Law General, but it would have offerings for international law. So if you want to specialize in public international law, you would choose all the connected modules, but we do have that. Thank you for that question, Mr. Manyang Gatwech. Susie Pamela, can I sit for papers from the Gulu branch? How does your university score in major rankings? At the moment, for the law degree, you'd have to sit your papers at our campus. But for the other programs like the Master of Laws, you can sit the papers. There are also our campus at the regional outreach centers, and so where you can sit your papers, because those are also extensions of our facilities. Are there any plans of opening a physical campus in Nairobi, Kenya, and not distance learning? That's a question from Mary Wambui. Thank you very much, Wambui. We actually have got invitations from a number of locations, not only in Kenya, from Sudan, from Burundi, from Rwanda, many locations inviting us, from the Gambia, to set up our physical campuses in Nairobi, Kenya. At the moment, we do not have any plans of opening a physical campus in Kenya. So at the moment, we are responsive to needs, like I mentioned. We bear it in mind. We bear all these requests in mind. But at the moment, you'd have to, if you're on a campus-based program, you'd have to attend the university for this program. But of course, if you're on distance learning, then you would study at your location, but of course you sit the exams on campus. But our learning platform is also a very versatile learning platform, you see. So there's a lot of engagement. So it's not like, it is a very interactive learning platform, a very versatile learning platform. So you'll find a lot of resource, you'll find a lot of benefit from interacting and interfacing with our learning platform. I'm proud of being a former student of Cavendish University. I urge all the former and current students of CUU to be job creators, not job seekers. That is from Manyang Gatwedge. And yes, although he's not asked it as a question, I would gladly say that many of our students are actually, they tend to be working towards becoming great entrepreneurs. We already have 2 law students who participated in the HILL Innovation Project. It's a project for legal innovations regarding access to justice, and they participated and reached the regionals in the competitions, and they won a big grant of $50,000 US, and it is to implement their legal innovation, which is the provision of informal dispute resolution. So that is already, they're already setting themselves for entrepreneurship. That is a legal innovation. So really, in our academic model, in our mission, we don't only look at employment, we also look at entrepreneurship. And our students can be successful whichever strand they choose to pursue. Thank you, Jenna Nambi. You're asking, does Cavendish University require that my bachelor's degree is in a related field? I imagine you've not been very clear, but I imagine you're referring to the Master of Laws program, and I'd like to thank you for your question, Ms. Nambi. Yes, really no. The first priority is given to people with a Bachelor of Laws degree, of course, but if you've also been in employment and your employment has interfaces with the law, we can also admit you for the Master of Laws program. So it is not only for people who already hold a Bachelor of Laws degree. You can also join it with a Bachelor of Business Administration, with a Bachelor of Commerce, with a Bachelor of Political Science, because you see, in most of these other humanities courses, people always study an element of the law. So if you have been involved in work and it has some linkage to the law, you're by all means very welcome to come and work and study with us at Cavendish. And like I mentioned in that respect, the Master of Laws program is an integrated program. You're now not looking at the law proper and confining yourselves to the jurisdiction of Uganda, but it is integrated, it is international in approach, and it's also interdisciplinary. That is why we have things like forensics, criminology, and the law. Forensics and criminology are not pure law, but we bring in that blend. International tax law, we bring in, so we bring in many, so anyone from the business world may be able to relate. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Sylvia Flower. How do you help your students to be familiar with practical skills in as far as the law is concerned? Thank you, Flower. As far as the law is concerned, our students are equipped with practical skills because in many different instances. So one, if you intend, anyone who wants to be a lawyer needs to be excellent at communication, both oral and written communication. And one way of developing this is by the moot court competition, which is an intra-faculty competition, which is mandatory for every law student from first year up to the 8th semester. Every semester, students must participate in this. And it is also assessed. Before the oral presentations, you make written submissions. That is honing your written communication skills. But our classes, like I mentioned, they are also interactive and hands-on. So for example, in a class of contract, It is not only about looking at the substantive law of contract. Do you know what a real contract looks like? Do you know how to translate the elements of a valid contract and identify them in a real life contract? Would you know how to protect a potential client? Land law, if you're studying land law, do you know what an actual certificate of title looks like? Do you know where the land office is situated and how it works? Company law, apart from the substantive issues of, commercial transactions, mergers and acquisitions, trusts, there are also some basic things. As a law student, would you know how to form a company? Would you know what a memorandum and articles of association looks like? Notice of annual return, it is hands-on. So the students, they get a hands-on experience with these documents, with these processes. But we also have a guest speaker series where we bring in guest speakers who are accomplished or eminent people from industry who come to equip our students with skills. So just last December, we had the Honorable Justice Mike Chibita, who came in. Of course, he's the DPP in Uganda. He came in and he was equipping students with skills that they may not otherwise know about, the processes of prosecution. We've had retired Justice Professor Kajay Hamba, talking about matters of constitutional law. So we keep on having a number of guest speakers who keep on coming in and equipping students with practical hands-on skills, which of course is an everyday thing in the course of our study. If I finish the Bachelor of Laws at Cavendish, what are the chances of joining LDC? Thank you, Kim, for that question. Your chances are as high as any other because we are accredited by the Law Council, and that is all that is required for you to join LDC. Of course, after the fulfilling the Law Council accreditation requirement, you need to pass the pre-entry exam at LDC. Now, that pre-entry exam, you'll have a high chance of succeeding at it because of the way you are trained at Cavendish. That does not mean that if you're a student at Cavendish, you are indolent. You need to be hardworking. I always tell my students, I always quote Justice Story, who said that the law is a jealous mistress, that the law is not satisfied, with just fleeting attention. It demands constant and lavish attention. You need to engage in lifelong learning. You need to read your cases, and you will succeed at LDC. Someone asked, and I need to emphasize that students who recommend others are entitled to a 10% discount on their tuition. So if you recommend someone else for a product that you know is good, you get the additional incentive of 10% discount on your tuition. Thank you. This is a question from one Joseph, who is asking, Joseph Murams is asking, what are the minimum requirements for me to join LLB? Thank you very much, Joseph, for that question, which also helps me to elaborate on something important. All you need is, for Ugandan students, you need to have 6 passes at O level. Then you need to have 3 principal passes at A level. And for us, we do not require the pre-entry exam. The reason why we don't do a pre-entry exam, again, it is by design. It is because we have the mechanisms to train our students, We have the mechanisms, like I said earlier, we have small class sizes by design. We have an approachable faculty. Our faculty are accomplished, but they're also, in spite of accomplished, they are very approachable, they are supportive. We do not say you cannot. Instead, we emulate Obama. We say, yes, you can. And we don't only say it, we put in place mechanisms to help you study the law effectively. So our interactive class sizes, our active classrooms, our blended learning, our Wi-Fi internet access, which gives you 24/7 access to the internet for you to conduct your legal research, so you're getting skilled in legal research skills, our compulsory modes. So all you need are your A-level grades, 3 principal paths, your O-level grades, and you're welcome to Cavendish. We also welcome students with a diploma in law with a credit from an accredited university. You can also join the Bachelor of Laws degree program. But if you also have another bachelor's program from another discipline, maybe Bachelor of Commerce, and you want to transition to the law, again, you can join us at Cavendish. Because we know we don't do any pre-entry by design, because we have the support structures to nurture our students to become successful lawyers. Susie Pamela is asking, please define special or complementary exams. Well, yes, at Cavendish we do special exams, but we don't do complementary exams, though. Maybe you mean supplementary exams, but special exams are the exams that we organize for students who, through no fault of their own, failed to sit exams at the time when they should have sat. Remember, we are a student-centered university. So what if it is time for examinations? I sit 2 papers, but I catch malaria before the 3rd, 4th, and 5th paper. We do not say, oh, go home and wait until another intake. We'll allow you to recover from your malaria. Of course, you have to provide sufficient medical evidence showing that you actually had malaria. And then at the start of the next semester, you'll be able to sit your exams and proceed seamlessly with your study. On the other hand, we also have supplementary exams. Now, supplementary exams are for those people who have narrowly missed the pass mark. You see, these are not automatic, because sometimes when you don't miss the pass mark, it may reveal that you need to acquaint yourself again with the content for that particular course. But if you're just on the borderline, then you can come for supplementary exams. You don't have to sit to attend the courses afresh. Again, they are at the start of the semester, and then you can sit those exams. However, because you're having a second attempt at the paper, we must not lie to the market, because we say that our programs are quality programs. So your examination mark will be capped at 50. And it will be indicated on your transcript that you had another attempt at the paper. That's the difference. So special, it is your first attempt, but you were stopped by circumstances beyond your control from sitting the paper. Supplementary, you are at the borderline, and you want to try it. Mika is asking, I'm requesting you, as we are coming to the close of the webinar, requesting you to share this live chat with friends and family, so that it can help them to hear about Cavendish University Uganda and to share this information to others who may have similar questions. Thank you very much. Philip Miga is asking, isn't there a big challenge of having practicing lawyers as lecturers? Are they able to make time for the students? Thank you, Miga. Like I said, our students are our best testimony. We walk the talk. At Cavendish, we provide a quality education, and we do tracking. In arriving at this conclusion, we do tracking. So we do class attendance, where we do tracking not only for the lecturers, but also for the students. So a student cannot complete a course successfully if they are not attending classes. You need to attend at least 75% of your classes in order to be eligible for the sitting of exams. Now, the lecturer is also supposed to attend all the classes, not only to come on the days that they are supposed to come, but also to attend a class for the full course of the class. So if a class is 9 to 11, then the lecturer cannot come from 9 to 9:45. It is for the full duration of the class, and that is tracked on a daily basis. If a class is missed, then the class must be made up, and the class representatives are always, who are students, play a critical role in this, in informing the administration when a class is missed and in ensuring that a makeup is made. Instead of practicing lawyers being a stumbling block to the success of the study of law, they are actually an attribute, because we do not teach theory. We are not training lawyers or future lawyers for utopia or for planet Mars. We are training future lawyers for the market, and we need them to have hands-on market-relevant skills. So when practicing lawyers come to deliver the classes, they are bringing that wealth of experience. They are bringing those skills from the marketplace and sharing them with the students. So it is actually an attribute of the program that the lecturers are also practicing lawyers. Someone is asking, why is it that students' marks get lost? Thank you, Angie Naziwa. At the Faculty of Law at Cavendish University Uganda, I can assure you we do not have any instances of marks getting lost. I mentioned that earlier during this chat. There are absolutely no instances of marks getting lost, because our assessments, first of all, are cumulative, because they are formative, and we keep on, and there is feedback, so you know your coursework marks even before you sit exams. All examination marking is done centrally. Our marks are not moved away from the campus, and our scripts are not moved away from the campus. Individual lecturers upload their results on our management system, information management system, and so we do not have any instances of lost marks. And so to put your mind at rest, we do not have instances of marks getting lost at Cavendish University Uganda. We do not have any of those instances. Tell me about the study schedule. Is it evening or weekend? I don't know what you're referring to, Mr. Kim, but what I can explain is that we have 3 different modes of study. So we have the campus-based mode of study, which is a day program, so Monday to Friday. You would come for classes from morning till evening, of course, depending on the timetable. Then we also have weekend classes under the School of Working Adults program. So you'd come for classes on a Saturday, on a Sunday, from morning till evening. We also have tutorials. Tutorials also help us to get a hands-on grip with the course content. And then we also have sessions on Friday evenings. So that is the schedule for the weekend. And then, of course, that is also blended. So you also have a tablet where we do not waste lecture time taking notes. All lecture time is made on actual learning. And then, of course, we have the DL, the distance learning platform. I can see a question from Leo, who is saying he strikes. Okay, that's not a question. I think he's just stating where he's streaming from. Someone is saying, Ahimbisiwe Wilbur, thanks, Doctor. I liked your discussion we had last Sunday with swap students at CU in Zambia. Thank you, Ahimbisiwe. So I take it that you are one of the students who is enrolling for our School of Working Adults program. And yes, so thank you very much, and I'm sure you will not be disappointed. I'd like to add that in our School of Working Adults program, because it is a premium program, we sit boardroom style, like I said. We have academic industry practitioners as facilitators, but we also have refreshments. So you know, in the real business world, in the real working life, in the real boardroom, you mix business with pleasure. So it is not intense. Yes, actual learning happens, actual discussions that transform society happen, but you know, you also have some refreshments because it's not like you're under a drill. We train you to do things like in the workplace. So we also serve tea and coffee and some light bites during the study. Do you coordinate with employers to give students internships? Yes, that is a question from George. Yes, we do coordinate with employers to give students internships. Actually, internship is a mandatory requirement for our students on all other programs at the university. At the Faculty of Law, it is not mandatory, but we do have a system where we collaborate with industry practitioners, that is with law firms, with also other institutions. So, for example, the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity, for example, with the Uganda Law Society, because we've got the Rule of Law Club, which is housed or hosted by the Uganda Law Society. So students can always engage in this kind of thing. We have a collaboration with a traffic and road safety organization where students can also get hands-on grip on the law, where they do legal, you know, they interface with clients, because of course with this road safety with this road safety collaboration, you're looking at victims of road accidents and the kind of legal counsel that you can provide, and the pursuing and the handling of insurance claims, and maybe the family issues like the handling of wills in case the accident victims have not made it, so handling the survivors and that kind of thing. So students have internship in all other programs at the university, at Cavendish University Uganda, but we also have we really support and encourage co-curricular activities, not extra, but co-curricular activities at the Faculty of Law. And every Wednesday afternoon, university-wide, we do not have classes because students are engaged in skills that enhance employability. I'm trying to see if there's any question I could have missed. We are coming to the end of our webinar. So unless there's any question out there, I'm not seeing any. I would like to thank you very much for joining this chat this afternoon. If any questions remain unanswered, I would like to encourage you to contact our enrollment team. We have 3 campuses at Cavendish University Uganda. We have a campus in Zambia at Kingsgate. We have another campus in Zambia at Seyani, which is just opposite the American Embassy. And we have the Faculty of Law in the prestigious Acacia area. It's at plot 38 Bukoto Street. So, and we have enrollment consultants at these campuses. So feel free to visit those sites for any questions. Feel free to also visit our website where there's a lot of information. Feel free to also check out the website for offerings on scholarships, which is our way of giving back to the community in ensuring that those brilliant and deserving students out there do not miss the chance of joining Cavendish University Uganda and acquiring a quality, transformative education. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, so please visit our website by all means, and our enrollment consultants. Any questions, they usually also live chats on our website. So thank you very much. Please do share this chat, and we always have these webinars every Wednesday. So please look out for the next webinar, which may be hosted, of course, by another individual from Cavendish University Uganda. Thank you very much, and looking forward to seeing you or one of your loved ones at Cavendish University Uganda. Of course, Happy New Year is still in order. Today is we are still in the month of January. Thank you. Success begins at Cavendish.